The first problem that we're going to have a look at and try and address is thoracic kyphosis. Now, thoracic kyphosis is basically where the shoulders come forward and the hips unrotate and we lose the natural S-curve in the back and we slouch. Basically, that's when we're slouching, okay? We don't want to slouch when we play the drums. If we have a look at what our posture is supposed to look like from the side angle, if I am sitting with correct posture and I pull my shirt forward, you should see there's a natural S-curve in my lumbar spine, in my lower back. That is the strongest and safest position for my spine to be in, whether I'm sitting down or standing up. So what happens when I unrotate my hips, rotate them backwards, is we lose that curve. And all of a sudden, there's an enormous amount of pressure on the discs in my spine at the back of my back, okay? So what happens is, now that the spine is curved over, all of the discs in my spine are now basically, instead of being like that, they're squashed over because we're curved, and the gel inside is being pushed out the back because it has to go somewhere, and if there's less room at the front, it's getting pushed out the back. And if you do that for long enough, and particularly if you load up on weight or if you're doing a really high intensity exercise like heavy rock drumming with really poor posture, eventually you're going to do something to a disc in your back. You're either going to rupture, herniate, and blow a disc, okay? That's bad news. So what happens is, along with the unrotating of the hips, is the shoulders typically come forward. And when we, instead of being like this, instead of being nice and square, we unrotate the hips, shoulders come forward a bit, and that's how we play, and that's thoracic kyphosis. And then we end up walking around like this as well. A lot of musos have got terrible posture. So it's the same as a lot of people, you know, who have a day job and they're sitting at a desk at a computer all day. They get the same kind of problem where, because the same thing that we get with drums, because everything that we're doing involves muscles on the front of our body. Obviously, when we're playing the drums, we're using our hands, forearms, upper arms. We're using our inner pec to bring the arm across sometimes. We're using our front deltoid to do the same thing. We're never using the muscles on the back of our body to the same degree. And in fact, if we were, we'd be doing something wrong. So that is normal, but we just have to kind of counteract that by training the muscles on our back to square out our posture, because what happens is we're using these muscles on the front of our body so much that they become overactive, they become strong in comparison. Even if you don't have big muscles as such, they become strong, they become tight. And what happens is when the muscles become tight, particularly the front deltoid and the pec, when they become tight, it pulls the shoulder forward, okay? And your normal position, your normal posture becomes thoracic kyphosis. You become slouchy. It's a new word, slouchy. We don't want to be slouchy, we want to be square posture, because slouchy, as I just demonstrated with the disc, is going to lead to big problems down the track. And once again, as I said at the start of the video, it's not necessarily going to happen today or next week or even this year, but if you want to maintain a good body for drumming for the rest of your life, these sorts of things are going to catch up with you. And as I said, I'm now 30, and I'm starting to find some of these things starting to catch up with me. And I've only been playing for 15 years. Some people have been playing for 50 years. And these are the sorts of things you want to address now. So what we need to do is we need to square out our posture by training the muscles that we never use when we play the drums, which is our back muscles. We use everything on the front. We even use our rectus abdominis. We've got 3 layers of abs. The layer of abs that wraps around the spine, the innermost, is the transverse abdominis, and that's for core stability. You find when you lift something and you go like that, that's usually a sign that your transverse is turning on. Then we have the inner and outer oblique muscles, which is kind of like a mesh on an angle like that, which helps us go from side to side and also twist. And we certainly use a lot of that when we play the drums. And we even use a little bit of the rectus abdominis, which is the 6-pack, which helps the spine crunch this way. If we happen to want to move over to hit a splash or a tom or something like that, then we certainly do use, we use all of our layers of abs when we play the drums. So what we need to focus on is muscles that use the exercises that use the muscles on the back. So now we're going to have a look at exactly those exercises.